Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another one of my album review episodes. My name is Christian Eschbach, and today we are going to be taking a look at, sorry about the shaking there, Revamp. Now, Revamp is reimagining the songs of Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Okay? This is a cover album, a variety of artists getting together and doing covers of Elton John songs. I wanted to cover this album because this album kind of gets to span multi-generational for me with my views of music and how I try to be, I don't want to say progressive, but I'm pretty open, really, for the most part. Or I'm cool with checking out other artists performing stuff that I enjoy, shit like that, right? Pardon the language. And the reason why I bring this up is when I was a kid, when there was a tribute album released to Black Sabbath, it was called NIB, or Nativity in Black, sorry. It was called Nativity in Black. I picked it up because it featured a whole bunch of brand new metal musicians that were out at the time and that were all, up and coming or ones that I liked or whatnot, You had White Zombie on there, sorry, I'm going to go off topic. So anyways, I really dug this album. Now, I put it on for my dad because my dad was a Black Sabbath fan. I also liked original Black Sabbath too, I already owned actual Black Sabbath albums of my own at that point. But I put this album on for my dad, and my dad kind of, he listened to it with an open mind, sort of, but, it wasn't his Sabbath. And, you could tell it wasn't his Sabbath. So, flash forward 2018, I stumble across this album, and there's actually a second album, which I will be covering on my next review, that follows this. This one here was done by contemporary artists. A lot of them I know, some of them I have no clue who they are. Some of them I really respect, but I honestly picked this up because there was going to be two songs on here. One I knew was going to be absolutely brilliant and covered magnificently, and one I just really wanted to hear because I thought it'd be really, really cool. So I picked up this album and, whatnot. And the reason why I mentioned the whole backstory about, my dad and the Black Sabbath album is I actually, when I first picked this up, was listening to it at work. And I worked with a variety of guys, mainly because I was working in a warehouse when I was listening to it. And I put it on in the warehouse because it had music that everybody could enjoy for one reason or another, or to some degree or another. And one of the guys who, was honestly younger than my son said, wow, man, that's really cool. My dad would never listen to stuff like this because, he'd be like, well, that's not my music, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and I looked at him, I said, this is exactly why I bought this album, is because my dad had the same mentality as well, and I wanted to be open to this stuff. I want to hear this type of stuff. I like to hear different renditions, different covers, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be music or genre specific. Now, let me get into this and you'll understand why. The album opens up with Bennie and the Jets, a 2018 version. This song here says on the back, and I'm just going by all the stuff that's on the back, okay? I'm not reading the musician crap inside or anything else, all right? Song features Elton John, Pink, and Logic. I have no clue who Logic is or what Logic is. I know what Logic is in the word logic and the meaning of the word logic, but I have no clue what Logic is on here. So, I like Pink. Pink is a fantastic vocalist. I have heard Pink do a variety of different rock covers over the years. I'd actually love to hear Pink put out a rock cover album. I think that'd be really, really cool. Problem is, I think her fan base wouldn't get it properly, The woman can do some Zeppelin, let me tell you. So to hear her doing Elton John, cool. I was cool with that, It wasn't the reason I picked up this album, but I knew I'd be comfortable and okay with this track. I knew I'd get some enjoyment out of this. That being said, the next track I knew right away was going to be a snooze fest. And as it turned out, it is the one song on the album I really don't like. Why do people like Coldplay? I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. I do not understand why people like Coldplay. They have got to be the most boring band on this planet. Holy crap, man. Coma inducing. They do. We all fall in love sometimes. Now, Elton John does a few too many ballads for me, but he's a piano player, so I get it. And I love piano ballads even to a degree, and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna take all that. Coldplay takes this song and they just oh, everything's removed from it. There's no passion, there's no nothing. It's just I don't get it. I don't. No. I'm moving on. I have no clue now. Once again, I don't know these artists, some of these artists, so I don't know the inflections, their names are done properly. So I don't know if it's supposed to be Alessia Cara or Alessia Cara, or I'm not sure what, okay? So I'm gonna go with Alessia Cara because I think that sounds the prettiest. My apologies if it's wrong and I just offended you. So if you ever see this. She does. I guess that's why they call it the blues. It's pretty. It's very pretty. It doesn't have the vibe that Elton John's does. Elton John's kind of got that dude, a very cliche white dude, kind of mourning sort of. And this song is a little prettier. It's kind of a little girl kind of, I don't want to say little girl, but her voice, it's got that little girl kind of sound to it. I do apologize once again. It does. In this version, anyways. And it's kind of her, she understands the blues, but she's approaching it kind of more from a little girl perspective. If you've ever heard of the band Lights, I would imagine that, if Lights was doing a cover of this song, this is what it would sound like, until I find out there's, probably, something related or whatnot. Who knows? Anyways, I don't know who this is. I couldn't be bothered to research either because I really didn't care. I just wanted to hear these artists do these songs, It was wonderful, but it's not enough to make me want to go and research this artist, okay? It didn't drive me that way. All right, next up, we got Candle in the Wind 2018 version by Ed Sheeran. Now, I have heard the name Ed Sheeran. I could not tell you an Ed Sheeran song on my best day, man. Never going to happen. Sorry, well, it might happen eventually, but as of right now, not happening, okay? I got way too much stuff before I even get there, man. But if you like Candle in the Wind, it's okay. I'll leave it at that. Whatever. Florence and the Machine, never heard of before. They do Tiny Dancer. After hearing the version of Tiny Dancer, which was wonderful, I mean, it's one of my favorite Elton John songs, top 10 Elton John songs for sure. The version was beautiful. It was a wonderful rendition. Honestly, just very, very tight to the original, I found. Just new musicians doing it. Faithful cover. Very faithful cover. Beautiful. From there, we go on to Mumford and Sons. Now, I know a little bit about Mumford and Sons. I just happened to watch a concert of theirs on demand one day because it was available. And I'm like, okay, let's check out Mumford and Sons. I heard a lot of stuff. And they're really cool. Not entirely my cup of tea, but they are really cool. And they do Someone Saved My Life Tonight. And this rendition is spectacular. Oh, breathtaking. Absolutely just wow. I really do need to look into Mumford & Sons. So, if anybody's watching this and you got a Mumford & Sons album you want to recommend that is not a greatest hits album, hit me up. Let me know what to pick up. Leave a comment. No, I don't have to say it at the end. I'll say it 100 more times. Anyways, this version of this song was just absolutely brilliant and spectacular. I would definitely check out more from them in the future. Moving on from there, we have Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word by Mary J. Blige. I have said it before with another artist. I will say it with Mary J. Blige as well. I will not get into the personal politics. You know, I've said it with Ted Nugent. I don't, politics aside, personal behavior aside, everything like that. I know the stuff that people say about Mary J. Blige. I know the reputation Mary J. Blige has. Not a musician I personally would want to work with, but the woman has a wonderful voice. She knows what she's doing when she does the songs that she does, and she does it very well. I'm not a fan of her interpretation of this song, but I'm not a fan of the song either that much. So it was kind of a lose-lose the whole way around for me. Moving on from there, though, Don't Go Breaking My Heart follows that up. Now, you got to picture this, okay? Myself, my best friend who is more metal than metal, he listens to other stuff too. He's pretty open, but he's metal. He's like, I'm surprised he doesn't walk around wearing death face. Okay, let's be clear, he is metal. And then another buddy of mine at the time who I believe I've mentioned before. He's worked for various musicians within the rock community and that, doing website stuff like that. So he's very connected in the rock community, especially related to the classic rock. So we're all sitting there and we're listening to this album when I pick it up, and this next song comes on, and all three of us just went, "Wow, cool, props, much respect," because it was a fantastic cover, and I have no clue who Q-Tip is. I hear that and I listen to the song and I'm thinking there's something racist and wrong going on there, but I'm not sure. And featuring Demi Lovato. And you got to have, obviously, the male-female, right, to do Go Breaking My Heart properly, unless you want to go a female-female, but you have to have two different voices, okay? I don't care, just politics, boosh, okay. So, yeah, two of them doing this song, and it's fantastic. It's really, really good. And the way they do it and the beat they got going on, it's really good. And I don't give two craps about Demi Lovato's music, really, for the most part. I have heard the odd thing here and there. Not my cup of tea, okay? Don't know anything about her otherwise. Don't care, Song is good. I listen to this when I'm out biking, It gets a good beat going, man. Gets you going. Gets the heart pumping. It's a great tune to get pedaling to. It really is. Now, this album and the album I'm going to do for the next review, which I'm not holding up my hand on purpose, there are only two similarities between the two albums. There's one artist, and only one artist, that appears on both albums. And there is one song and only one song that appears on both albums. They are completely separate entities otherwise, with two completely different styles. This is in a pop rock kind of style. The other one is kind of more in a country, kind of folksy, that kind, bluegrassy kind of vein. But I will cover that after. Now, the reason why I mention this is the first time that this pops up is the song Mona Lisa and Mad Hatters, which appears on both albums. On this album, it's covered by The Killers. I am vaguely familiar with The Killers. I know a few songs from them. I don't mind The Killers. They're not entirely my cup of tea. They're more of that sound that I kind of avoided in the 80s. They not quite my thing. They're cool, but not quite my thing. A little out of my realm. I might pick up a greatest hits album later down the line, but that's about it. I hate to say it, kind of inaccessy like for me that way. Their cover of Mona Lisa and Mad Hatters is good. I enjoy it. But when you hear me do a side-by-side comparison with the other album, I prefer the other album much more with their version of Mona Lisa and Mad Hatters. But this version is good. It doesn't really stand out in any major degree. The next song after that is Daniel by Sam Smith. No clue. I'm not sure on that one. I should probably know better. I don't. The cover of Daniel is good. It is cool. I enjoy it. But, I can go either way with it. Okay, so the artist that appears on both albums, and when I say her name, it will make sense why she would appear on both a pop album and a country album. And you're probably guessing, who is it? Who's he talking about? I have no clue. Have you got it yet? Have you got it yet? All right. If you haven't figured it out and you haven't looked it up already, it's Miley Ray Cyrus. Except for here, it's just Miley Cyrus. Sorry, not Miley Ray. Sorry, Miley Cyrus. And she does Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Now, Miley took a lot of crap. I am not a Miley fan, but I have kids. I have 2 kids. I have a daughter. My daughter grew up watching Hannah Montana. I was not going to say no. So be it. Okay? So I got a lot of Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana exposure. And then because my daughter, that way she obviously kind of, went a little bit with that. Now my daughter loves her rock music. My daughter is the one that got me into the Pretty Reckless, okay? So let's be cool. My daughter is cool with her music choices. Sometimes she's girly, but she's cool. But because of her, I know Miley. And I gotta say, I gotta respect those poor Disney kids when they grow up, man. They're always so boom. And she wanted to be an artist, and she went flamboyant, and she went crazy with it. But I can respect that. And that's cool with me, and I'm okay with that, because as far as I know, she didn't hurt anybody other than herself. And that's fine. Her version of Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me is great. I like that. And I don't, it's not, if you like the song, you should like her version. I think it's a really good rendition. It also depends on her voice. I can appreciate her voice. I don't mind her voice. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people like to make fun of it. I think 10 years from now, a lot of people are going to be eating their words on that. It's going to be like the Stevie Nicks goat joke, Moving on. Now, we're at to the last 2 songs of this album. And the last 2 songs of this album are the reason I bought this album. Everything else leading up to this point was, okay, are you going to justify me buying it for 2 songs? And, yes. The question is yes. It justified buying it before I hit the last 2 songs. Because it was interesting and cool. The last 2 songs. Lady Gaga, who I knew was going to do a brilliant rendition of Your Song. You're going to pick any single popular current musician to cover your song. Song that is 100% purely based off of this beautiful piano riff and these wonderfully touching lyrics that are poetic and yet they grab at your heartstrings, but they don't grab at your heartstrings in the most cliche way. Well, they do, sort of. But it's just, this is what great music is. And she was the perfect person, is the perfect person to cover this song. And I know I sound all stuffed up. That's my allergies right now. I'm not getting all misty-eyed. Let's be clear at this moment. I gotta be clear, because I know sometimes I get misty-eyed when I talk about these songs. But she does a brilliant version, man. And it's I don't listen to Lady Gaga much on her own. I don't own any Lady Gaga. My daughter, once again, she listens to some different stuff. She owns some Lady Gaga, and I would pick certain songs off of there to listen to. And Speechless, I was a huge fan of Speechless. I still love the song Speechless. And that's why Your Song was really easy to see that she was going to cover. The album finishes with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. being covered by Queens of the Stone Age. I have a very colorful past as a reviewer with Queens of the Stone Age. When I was in school for journalism at St. Clair College, I actually got press passes and press coverage to go do coverage for Queens of the Stone Age. I'm not going to get into all the background story of all the crap that went wrong with trying to get the credentials and everything to me in time, because the head of the department at the time for journalism was an ass. But I got the credential. They let me in. We took care of everything, and I got to go see the concert, and I got to meet the guys. I actually played foosball. I hung out with the guys. I played foosball with the band in its original first lineup. So I can say out of the current band, I know for sure that was on this particular cover, Josh Holmes. I met Josh Holmes. I played foosball with Josh Holmes. And I reviewed that concert, and I was not a fan of Queens of the Stone Age when I saw them live the first time. But I didn't like their first album either. It didn't do much for me. It really took until a little bit later on before I really started getting into it, before I found they really hit their groove. And I'm not going to say it was, the cliche like everybody where it was lullabies to paralyzed, but, that's where they really did start. They had a couple good songs before that, but that was where they really found their groove. And after that, I found the albums got better and better and better. I will be getting to them eventually, don't worry. But their cover here was not entirely what I was expecting, but what they did with it was fantastic. It was brilliant. I love their rendition of this. It is a great album. It's a great song, great album. Okay, so this is a really long-running review because, when you're covering so many different musicians on so many different songs, you got to cover a lot of stuff. What I need to say at the end of this is, if you want to check out interesting modern adaptations by modern artists, go check this out. I mean, Queens of the Stone Age is not necessarily a modern artist, and Mary J. Blige definitely is in the exact same category as Queens of the Stone Age there. But you get what I'm saying, this is definitely an album worth checking out with modern interpretations, especially for songs that were written by one of the greatest music writers of all time and one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I didn't even get into the two of them. Until next time, man. Peace. I love you all. Take care. And once again, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you got some suggestions for some of these bands, except for Queens of the Stone Age, leave me some suggestions and hit the subscribe button for notifications. Take care.